And our hands are clean. Woohoo! It's time for positive actions.
¡Hola! Es hora de acción positiva.
Mrs. Hot and
Miss Shema,
welcome you to the Morgan County Partnership's Positive Actions Daily Community Vlogcast. Señora Hot
y Shema os damos la bienvenida a los vídeos diarios de acción positiva.
Today is Wellness Wednesday. Hoy es
miércoles maravilloso.
Maravilloso. Wow. Oh, let's get ready for a Pawsome Day full of learning and wellness.
¿Listos para un maravilloso día de aprendizaje y bienestar?
Dreams. The positive action word for this week is dreams, and in Spanish, sueños. Now, watch this beautiful lesson of Wellness Wednesday.
Hi friends, today we are going to read A Place to Grow. A Place to Grow, written by Stephanie Bloom and illustrated by Kelly Murphy. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. I hope so, for as long as I can remember, I have been searching for a home. Where had it landed this time? It was shady and cool. The ground was buckled and cracked, like something was pushing from deep inside. Whoa! Exclaimed the tiny seed. It had landed at the foot of an enormous tree. This looks like the perfect place for me to put down roots, the tiny seed declared. Looks can be deceiving, replied the tree in a voice so deep it made the ground hum. This forest is no place for a little seed to grow. My roots are so tangled and thirsty you would never get enough soil or water, and my branches are so broad that they would steal all of your sunlight. You could never grow here. I will never grow anywhere, sighed the tiny seed. Yes, you will, chuckled the big tree. Because that's what seeds do. We grow. It happens to all of us, and one day you will find the place that's right for you. It will have everything you need to take root. Until then, enjoy your journey, my little friend. Oh, wind, called the tiny seed, please come and get me. This is not my place to grow. So the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? A buzzing bee danced from flower to flower. It landed, then darted back in surprise. Butterflies. Oof! The tiny seed was moving. A giant ant had snatched it up and was racing towards a big pile of sand. Stop! Put me down! Yelled the tiny seed. Oh my, wheezed the ant with surprise. I thought you were a pebble. I was going to use you on top of my anthill. You would make a dandy front door. I'm no pebble, said the tiny seed with a huff. I'm a seed waiting to grow. Can't you see that? This park is a busy, busy place, and I'm a busy, busy ant. I don't have time to notice everything, snapped the ant, and raced off to finish building its home. I wish I could build a home like the ant, thought the tiny seed, but a seed needs roots, not sand and pebbles. Oh, wind, called the tiny seed, this is not my place to grow. Please come and get me. So the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? Silky tufts of clover blanketed the fresh green pasture. Chomp, chomp, chomp. The tiny seed looked up and gasped. A cow's huge wet tongue was headed straight toward it. Watch where you're eating, hollered the tiny seed. You almost made me your lunch. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Hey, cow, shouted the tiny seed. Did you hear me? The hungry cow didn't hear a thing and kept on chewing. Chomp, 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 gulp, burp. The hungry cow licked its lips and leaned down to take another bite. Just as the tiny seed was about to be eaten, the wind blew in and carried it far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? A weathered wooden fence guarded rows and rows of ripe vegetables. Scram, barked a red tomato. Every spot's taken, screeched a yellow pepper. What about over there? Asked the tiny seed and pointed to an empty patch of soil. I promised I would grow so quietly you would never know I was there. Well, boomed a plump purple eggplant, that row is for rutabagas. Are you a rutabaga? I don't know, replied the tiny seed. I don't even know if I'm a vegetable. We knew what kind of seeds we were right from the start, squeaked the green zucchini. A gardener brought us home from the greenhouse in packets with our name on them. Then I'm definitely not a vegetable, said the tiny seed sadly. I don't come from a packet. I float down from the sky, and I'm not planted by a gardener. I have to plant myself. In that case, boomed the eggplant, you can't grow in our garden. We're sorry, but you just don't belong here. This is not my place to grow, said the tiny seed very softly, and without having to be asked, the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed cried as the wind gently cradled it in its swirling current. You must never lose hope, whispered the wind. But I have searched and searched, the tiny seed sobbed, and there is no place for me to grow. I will never find a home. For as long as time, whispered the wind, I have carried all kinds of seeds across the earth, and one by one each seed found its own special place to grow. But I'm not like other seeds, said the tiny seed with a sniffle. I'm a floater, not a grower. You are a grower, whispered the wind, because that's what seeds do. They grow. You sound just like the old tree, said the tiny seed. That old tree was once a tiny seed and rode with me just like you, whispered the wind. Now it's time for you to float down to the ground and look again. No, wind, I want to stay here with you. Please don't let me go, cried the tiny seed. Don't be afraid. You will find your place to grow and blossom, and I will be there. I will always be there, whispered the wind, and gently released the tiny seed from its airy embrace. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. Could this be my place to grow? The tiny seed wondered. Where had it landed this time? Giant hills rolled up to the clouds, filling the valley below with a peaceful calm. Exhausted from all its adventures, the tiny seed yawned and fell sound asleep. Choo, choo, choo! A puffing steam engine roared and spun the tiny seed high into the air. One minute I was dreaming of growing, and now I can't tell up from down, shouted the tiny seed. This is definitely not my place to grow. Wind, please come and get me. So the wind blew in and carried the tiny seed far, far away. The tiny seed floated down from the sky and landed on the earth without a sound. I'm sure this is not my place to grow, thought the tiny seed. It never is. Where had it landed this time? Blades of tall, shiny grass swayed as if saying hello. A lively band of crickets sang a friendly song of welcome. Soon I will discover the reason why this place can't be my home. Then I will have to float through the sky again. So the tiny seed waited, and waited, and waited, and waited. While the tiny seed waited in the grassy meadow, the sun peeked out from behind a cloud. "Ah, the sunlight is so warm here," said the tiny seed as it was bathed in a golden glow. Later, a light rain showered down. The water is so sweet here," said the tiny seed as it drank and drank and drank. Soon the rain stopped. "Oh, the soil is so soft here," said the tiny seed as it snuggled deeply into the moist earth. Then the tiny seed felt the wind blow into the meadow, and although it loved the wind, the tiny seed was filled with a deep sadness at having to leave this place and float again. The wind blew and blew and blew, but a strange thing happened. The tiny seed didn't float up into the sky, and the wind didn't carry it far, far away. The tiny seed couldn't move. It was held firmly in place by a root that was as strong as it was tiny. The tiny seed was growing at last. "Oh, wind!" shouted the tiny seed with joy. "I have finally found my place to grow. I belong here in this grassy meadow." "You are home," the wind whispered back. "Enjoy your new journey." And there, in the grassy meadow, the tiny seed grew and grew and grew and grew. The beginning.
That was awesome, Super Scholars. Now pause the video and take a time for Let's Talk About It time.
Well, she sneaks around the world, up to Carolina. She's a sticky finger filter, bumbling down to Belize. Take you for a ride, no boat to China. Tell me where in the world is
Positive action. Where in Morgan County are positive actions? Woo! Where are they? Oh, hey! Super Scholars, awesome neighbors, and positive partners. Mrs. Hot here. Today is Wednesday, and you know what that means? I'm so excited! Wednesday is Where in Morgan County are positive actions? Hey, have you seen any today? Well, take a look at this video. It is somewhere in Morgan County where Mrs. Shema and I were out, and we found some positive actions! So now, it's up to you. Watch this video and see if you can discover where we are. And if you know, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send me an email. Yes, email Mrs. Hot at Angie@morganpartnership.org. Right here's the address. Yes, and in that email, tell me your name, your teacher's name, and where you think we are. Send in your guess, and we'll take a look at that. And if you're right, you will be entered to win a Awesome Possum program shirt. Aren't they beautiful, you guys? Take a look at this. I am unique, important, valuable, and wonderfully made. And see on the back? So, positive partners, are you ready? You know what to do? Here's your assignment. Watch this video. Look for positive actions in our neighborhood, guys, because they are everywhere. And send me an email if you can guess the right location. Now, I have a shout out. Are you guys ready? Shout out to Miss Kidwell's Super Scholars from 5th grade last school year. Look what I have. Isn't that cool? Yes, before we were home for the lockdown, I got a great list of secret places around Morgan County where her 5th graders, Miss Kidwell's 5th graders, found some positive actions. So stay tuned this year because they're big middle schoolers now, right guys? And you know what? Anyone can play, from kindergarten to senior year to at home in virtual school or around the county. We're looking for positive actions in our neighborhood because they are everywhere. So, keep looking. Watch this video. When you go out in Morgan County, you find a positive action. I want to hear about it. All right. where in Morgan County are positive actions. All right, signing off now, Mrs. Hot. On another assignment, looking for positive actions. Wait. Oh, there's one over there. I gotta go record that. See ya, bye.
Positive partners out there, from home and school to the daily community broadcast. Today is Wellness Wednesday. Join us for a mindfulness minute. Let's get ready for relax those muscles and to feel healthy and well.
What is mindfulness? And what do these parts of the brain have to do with mindfulness?
The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that analyzes, interprets, and chooses what you feel is the best course of action. This is what we call mindful behavior.
When the brain encounters something threatening, the information is blocked by the amygdala before it can reach the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala produces a fight, flight, or freeze response instead.
This response is very useful if we are in a dangerous situation. But the amygdala can also make us feel frustrated, anxious, or angry. So how do we become mindful when this happens?
Retrain your brain!
Slow and steady breathing is a really good way to reset your brain, especially when you feel overwhelmed or anxious. With practice, it strengthens your neuron connections and your brain learns to reflect instead of react.
When we reflect, we see the world around us without judgment. We make a choice to treat ourselves and others with kindness and compassion.
I used to stay at my grandparents' house, and one day there was a really big thunderstorm, and I was absolutely terrified. My brain was going crazy, and I just couldn't get over the fact that I was probably going to get hurt. But then my grandma told me that it was just a thunderstorm and that it couldn't actually hurt me, and now I just got used to it and learned to calm myself down.
So we do our big research project this year, and we have to do an art piece, and I'm not particularly strong in art. So I had an idea, and because I went to a camp, I didn't think I could get my idea done in time. but I kind of calm myself down by planning and sort of making myself more in control. So like in my head going, okay, if I change this and then do this on Monday, that'll make this part easier, so I won't have to do so much on Wednesday. And it made me, feel more in control and relaxed about it.
It was 2 years ago. I was invited to join the elite troupe at my dance school, and I didn't think I was good enough, and I was really nervous because I didn't think I'd be able to pick up the choreography because I was new to dancing. But I was so stressed out and I was really scared, but then I ended up asking everyone else who was in that troupe, and they were in the same position and they didn't think they could, but then we came to a realization that the only reason why we were in that selective troupe is because we were good. So, yeah.
When you judge someone by the way they look, you aren't using your prefrontal cortex.
If you are mindful and take the time to get to know someone, you might just find a new best friend.
You could also find the things that you were scared to do before are really fun.
Or find that something that made you angry needed your help instead.
So remember, if you feel scared or angry, calm down your amygdala by taking slow and steady breaths, so you can use your prefrontal cortex and live fully in the moment. This is what mindfulness is all about.
Thank you for joining us from your home, your school, or your community.
Gracias por acompañarnos desde vuestra escuela, hogar o comunidad.
And remember, you are unique, you are important, and you are wonderfully made.
Recordad, sois especiales, importantes y maravillosos.
Maravilloso. Aww. All right.